I actually think I am coming down with something. It's not serious yet, and cranberry juice seems to help. So it's either that I'm coming down with something, or my thyroid is just especially, I don't know. If cranberry juice helps, it's probably not my thyroid. Just because, cranberry juice actually kind of tends to do the opposite for that. Despite my best intentions, I have a complicated relationship with cranberry juice right now. Probably will for the rest of my life. I mean, autoimmune disorders aren't exactly curable. Treatable, but not curable. So, they're not really treating it. Mostly because every time somebody, they don't really treat it, they just put on the illusion of treating it. And that's not what I want. I don't want somebody to just throw a generic pill at it and go, yeah, it's done. I'm not gonna do any proper follow-ups for something that is so erratic. And I'm just like, you can't just check up on that every 3 to 6 months. I'm telling you, they wouldn't have even had discovered it if they did that, because at one point in my life they were testing my thyroid about that often. And they didn't find anything, despite the fact that all the things that I'm experiencing now were already there, as far as my thyroid went. They just didn't have an explanation for it. This was literally found because more than one test was done in a month. If we did it right, we could actually establish if it is random or if there's an actual, set pattern to it. Like steps on a battlefield or something. That would be what I would want to do. Figure out, if there's an actual pattern to it. Something predictable. That, and then get it stable from there. This is not the sort of thing you can just throw medication at. And even with my grandmother, they would ask her how she felt. Whenever she said something, they would listen. They don't listen to me. They just want to throw medicine at it and then not do anything else. And whenever I tell them this isn't working, this stuff is happening, and now this is causing even more mayhem, nobody listens to me. You can't treat it that way. Medicine doesn't... It's not that simple.
Ooh, Mom, should I go to Jamaica?
Hey, honey.
That little thing we got to put stuff in
Yeah?
worked good. I put some of my Tabasco ketchup in it. It was nice to have that and put in my hamburgers. I liked it. I like those. I think that was a good choice.
Nobody stole your lunch today?
Nope.
Is this the day that they're not there?
I don't know. Sometimes today is the day my lunch gets stolen, sometimes not. Maybe he's not there. I haven't seen him.
You haven't seen the guy?
I haven't seen him lately, no. Maybe he quit. Maybe he got fired.
Maybe he finally
Maybe
got...
he's on vacation.
Maybe he well, yeah, of course, they give him vacation.
I don't know.
But they give you trouble just getting a day off to go to Chris's birthday.
I don't know. I have not seen him. So I don't know what's going on. Because he works overnight mostly. He works during the day now.
No, he wouldn't be stealing your lunch if he worked overnight. He's been stealing your lunch for a while. I've got the camera on.
Huh?
I advise you not to step over here.
I need to take a shower. I didn't know. I'm sorry. You didn't warn me when I came in the door.
Well, I thought that it would be obvious.
No?
You kiss me. I
No.
faced it down. No one will see you. And all you're getting ready to shower glory. Oh! I heard that.
That felt it.
I'm sorry. That sounds like it hurt.
A little bit.
Haven't I showered yet?
It'd be nice if you could come on. That's like...
I don't know if I can. I was gonna try and do some exercises in the blow pool. I know, don't give me that. You're giving me the puppy face.
I'm too tired.
I know. I should have paused. So, anyway, Chris got done with his schoolwork. Had a little bit of a brat attack. That's what I should call it now. You know, those moments that all kids have where they just don't want to do something. And then in public he's like, I'm a little angel, grow my wings. But in private he's like, I know you won't kill me. Sometimes. Other times, he's sweet. Yeah. The airport was really a test, though. Kind of started to get whiny, but most kids at his age were still kind of getting a little testy. Because, a lot of the kids had just straight out took out the headphones by the end of it, and they were just like, done. So he was actually handling it pretty well. There were some other kids his age that after walking around that much, they were just kind of like, we're kind of done, I don't really feel like the walk through the, I don't know, I think it could be a little bit more organized as far as tours go. Because, we literally walked the place several times to go backtrack to different places, and I don't think that this was organized. I don't think there's really a routine for tours. It's a private tour and all that. Anyway, the kids were all done with it, so Chris was not alone in that. Even a couple of the kids that were kind of older than him were kind of done with it. All the kids were just like, parents were done with it, the kids were done with it, everybody was done. And then, some of the kids played afterwards together. Chris was among those kids, and I was just kind of glad to exchange some information, That was last week. This week, we have another field trip. / co-op. And, I'm hoping that this goes well and that, Chris socializes with the other children and all that. Today, though, I had to tell him, if you pull this tomorrow, we might not go on Wednesday. And, he pulled himself together after that, for the most part. I mean, you still got the stuff that you have to redirect normally. It's normal. It's normal, especially with Chris. He's very strong-headed. Once he gets something in his head, you gotta be vigilant. It's just, at this point, I'm just like, that's just how Chris is. He's very bullheaded, very stubborn. This just... But there's a reason why I don't say that in front of him. With a negative context and all that. I actually heard people, praise him for it, and I'm like, excuse me? Because those same teachers would turn around and say the same things that I heard as a kid. You have such a strong personality. They'll try and say it a certain way, but they change how they say it whenever it's girls. And this is why boys and girls grow up so differently. Because, while we do have some biological differences, they're not as different we're not as different as society divides us. It's not that we're necessarily the same, per se, but we're not quite as different either. Also, some of the people who are trying to highlight differences are just like, women are weaker than men, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're a douchebag. Women naturally, they're not even expanding on that, they're not explaining it, And I actually know a thing or two about it. So I'm like, yeah, F you too. Maybe with a dull rusted spoon? Nah. Flashback to my younger days. Not an actual flashback. I'm actually just referring to, oh, that brings back memories. Not necessarily bad ones. An ex-best friend and me used to joke about doing certain things to rapists with a dull rusted spoon or a dull rusted butter knife. At first it was dull rusted butter knife, but then we decided that a dull rusted spoon would be more fitting. Don't ask. So, yeah, I'm just moving this around because all the stuff I've been doing, my arms are kind of noodly. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I lost my train of thought, and I'm really tired, and I really need to go out there and do those exercises.